Hey everyone, Switch Double here. As you can see the title, Predictions of MLP G5 Season 1 ending. In this video, I'm going to talk about my personal beliefs as predictions what will happen near the end of Season 1 of G5. First, you may ask, how would I even come up with these potential ideas or predictions of, well, the end of the G5 Season 1? Well, it is mostly based on the Netflix series and the web series Tell Your Tale. How, well, mostly is how Opaline's character and how she is very impatient of Misty's attempt to get some more magic for her to get strong again, and how she wants to fulfill her goal to unite, to rule the Equestria. So I came up with 4 predictions. Each one might sound quite similar to each other, but to be in fact they are not. They have complete different interactions. But at least I'm willing to give you all of you first to listen. And if you have any of your opinions, thoughts, or all that you can leave in the comment section below. Because I will always willing to listen to all of your ideas and potentials or what I think could happen in this particular one. Now let's start with prediction number 1. Prediction number 1. What if that the main 5 somehow figure out that who Opaline is based on Twilight's message that they saw in her, it is magic hologram, to when they figure out who Opaline is, and based on the Twilight's message that there were once a pony that was trying to take all the magic for herself, and knowing that Sunny's father Argyle had a very much old research. So they may have to be using her father's research to hoping to find any potential way to stop Opaline, and also other things to learn more about her. Even if we're one thing, we know that Argyle did an extensive research about Equestria's ancient history, from the time of Luna Celestia and even the time of Twilight as a ruler. But we don't know anything much about it otherwise. And hey, we have no idea if the main 5 has ever even used any of the research. But if they learn a way to do this. But during the meantime, what if that Opaline figure out that they have learned, that the main 5 have learned about her, who she is, and she realized that her plan to take over the Equestria may have been in jeopardy, so that she wanted to take the next step and try to find something else to increase her power, because she has so far wanted to use Sparky's fire dragon, the dragon fire, increase her own power. But now that the main 5 have learned about Opaline, she realized that now that it's potential that Sparky may not be much easy target anymore, so she may have to figure out another way to increase her own magic. It's possible that she might have finds about an old equestrian artifact. But during the time, what if the main 5 somehow, based on Argyle's research, what if they actually figure out there is a spell that they can use against Opaline? But here's one part of that. We don't even know exactly what the old research that Argyle did, what it even consists of. It can only be based on the local history and even the kingdom's history from the formation until the time of the magic disappeared. But assuming that it may even contain some research that Argyle did that might contain even some magic spells, But there's one thing that we have no idea if any of the research actually have any consist of any powerful magic spells that is. But assuming that if there is some form of magic spells in one of the research, and if the main five learns a way to stop Opaline with a powerful magic spell, that even though the rest of the main five want Sunny to use a spell against Opaline, even though the Sunny would be willing to give Opaline the chance to rethink of her actions and offer her friendship, and even though that at first maybe that's based on Opaline's reactions to, she so far refused to have anything to even establish any friendship, meaning that she refused to have anything to form a bond of friendship with any other ponies, because the only that she had in mind, steal the magic and become powerful to take over and rule Equestria. So even at first, Opaline may and more likely to refuse to even think about it. And when the other main five will try to convince Sunny to use the spell against Opaline. But Sunny will only be using that as a last option, as a last resort, which I can understandable. But considering how much that Opaline had been, well, considering how much she really has been hurt, and that she believes that all the magic belongs to alicorns. But if Sunny didn't have any other option to use the spell against Opaline, if she does, even it may not strip all her magic powers, but what if the spell was so strong enough to weaken Opaline once again, and then offer the offer to be nested in friendship, and Opaline may think that her goal to regain the power once again was not worth it. If she had been defeated once by Twilight and her friends, and now by a younger generation of ponies, but it's still very much unlikely that Opaline would even consider to even accept a friendship. Even despite this, it's a potential that she would simply run off and then once again try to plan once again to find a way to get more powerful. But if that happened, it's very likely that the main five would have the word spread out in Equestria to have an eye open for this particular alicorn or this particular pony, and have any suspicious things to report it back to them about this. That they may have been on high alert the whole time about since Opaline just vanished. But considering that if Sunny had the sort of some form of speech to telling her, it's not worth to consider this plan of taking over the Equestria. So in a way, it's possible that Opaline would consider as to accept Sunny's friendship offer. But it is unknown to say for certain about that. That's prediction number 1. Prediction number 2. It's very likely that Opaline will get very impatient of Missy's slow work of recover as much dragon fire from Sparky, and start to lose trust in her and try to find another way to increase her own magic behind Misty's back. And if that was true, because despite how many times that Misty had tried to figure out a way to steal some magic, more dragon fire from Sparky, or even to try to capture Sparky to bring him back to Misty Opaline. So, assuming if that Opaline would eventually lose patience on Misty, so that if somehow Opaline would figure out there is an ancient, powerful magical artifact that could increase her own magic with maybe perhaps 10 more times than what it usually is. Or perhaps even would restore her all magical ability. And that with that new magic that she had now could complete her goal to take over the Equestria, take all the remaining other the magic for herself. And what if during the time what if Misty were to figure out or even find out that Opaline never had intention to help her to get the cutie mark? What if she was alive the whole time to teach her, to train her how to figure out a way to give Opaline the more magic again? But what I mean, what if she was only used Misty as a pawn, as a tool, so that she could use her to find a way to increase her own magic without revealing herself to the rest of the public? So if Misty learns about this, and she decides to inform the main five about Opaline, and even at first when they learn about her, and when they remember that the message that Twilight left behind, at some point once tried to do this. And the name started with Ope. She couldn't repeat the name fully, due to the fact it was a sort of static. But even after they learn about who Opaline is and what Misty's role had been the whole time, it's very likely more likely they would even believe a single word from her. But if she made a plea to telling them that they should trust her word for once, because if Opaline once did it once before, and now she is willing to do anything much possible to get the magic from Sparky or any other potentials. So even if she learns about telling them about this, and they came to realize that Misty actually is serious, and knowing how powerful Opaline might be now, and now she is planning to take over Equestria, that she is planning to first of all to either attack Maritime Bay, and perhaps even to drain all the opponents their own magic to herself, and then she will go for the other settlements like Zephyr Heights and Brotherwood. And Sunny realized that it may be well that they should trust Misty, because she had gone a lot of trouble to inform them about this. But I can understand why the main five would even trust her, after all, when they learned that Misty was once helping Opaline to do this. But after that, she didn't tell them the reason why she didn't want to have nothing to involve herself with Opaline anymore. So Sunny may have to tell the other settlements, Zephyr Heights and Bridlewood, of the potential danger, and that they should consider the activation of their homes in case if the main five would lose against Opaline. They would still offer Opaline the friendship. But if the time when Opaline learns that Misty's betrayal of revealing about her to the main five, and that makes her to realize that such betrayal should be punished. And I don't even have any idea exactly what she had in mind for punishment for Misty's betrayal. But it's potentially maybe to turn her to stone or something, but like they where Celestia and Luna did against Discord. But it's potential that that could happen as well. So even if that is true, even if they would have, and even the main five would try to activate the Maritime Bay, it would only cause panic. But if they managed to activate the whole town, but just the main five remained, it's potential that they can use this if they had even also had looked through Argyle's research to find a way to reform Opaline. It's potentially that they could still have something in the research that could actually have some form of information about Opaline, or perhaps even maybe may contain some about Opaline, and even potentially something that could stop her. But even if they weren't find a spell or anything that could help them, Opaline may still attack Mirtanbay first and discover the whole town is deserted, it has been abandoned, except for the main five. And that makes her furious. But at least now she had the magic from the main five that she can start with, and then she will focus on her own Zephyr Heights, Brotherwood, and basically in the rest of Equestria. But even if the Sunny do have a friend-heard speech or something like that to Opaline, offer her the chance to consider what she's doing is the complete wrong. That instead of taking over Equestria and ruling it with fear, they should be considering to live in peace. That Opaline should not do this. She should once again try to consider what she's doing is not the right way to do it. Since she's an alicorn, since she would have realized the other alicorns are friendly, but even if Opaline at first refused to have nothing to do with this to have any acceptance of friendship. And understandable it is. But at the same time, well, even if though that the main five wouldn't have no way to stop her, even though that's Hitch can use his Earth Pony magic, Issy can use her Unicorn magic, and Pip and Zip could use their flying abilities and to some further advantage. But they should consider one other thing is that Sunny have her Alicorn magic. But she has no full control and, well, so far she hadn't even used any particular spells, as we know it. And also another thing that we'll consider. Opaline as an Alicorn. She had two things that also advantage. Her magic, her wings. But even if there are short things of a short fight, that what if that Opaline actually is either had potential of being losing against the main five, and either she has to run off from Equestria forever, realizing that no matter how many times she tries, she will always fail. So that's potentially that. But if Opaline would lose, and still given a chance to reform and accept of the friendship. Despite that the other main five might not trust Opaline at first, especially even the rest of Equestria. But considering that I'm more understandable, realizing or learn about there is an Alicorn, even though most of the Aliponists know of the ancient Alicorns like Luna, Celestia, Cadence, and the others had always been friendly and peaceable and justful. They were all for justice. But Opaline was complete opposite. So I can understand why they wouldn't even trust her in the first place. But one other thing is, if Opaline would consider to accept friendship, which I perhaps would do, but the rest of the community or the general public may have given time to get used that there is an Alicorn to consider what she was doing or even was planning. There was no way to say that what if she was actually just trying to act, she actually had accepted friendship, but what was lying in the background. That's potential also. But if assuming that Opaline would accept the offer of friendship, it is something that could be considered as part of that. Now, let's start with prediction number 3. In the third prediction, where is Misty eavesdrops and learns from Opaline talking to herself that she never had intention to help Misty to get her cutie mark. Based on like the two other predictions were most likely to be the same thing. And that Misty had just been a pawn or a tool in order to get for Opaline's goal to take over the magic. Misty feels betrayed, but for sure. And she decides to go to Maritime Bay to inform the main five, even if she knows that they may not trust or even believe her, knowing what she had done in order to help Opaline. They might try to capture her and even put her into Hitch, the sheriff's prison. during the time they won't listen to any word from Misty. And during the time of this process, Opaline more likely would have learned that Misty what she had done, and then she is outraged, and decide to use what magic she has in order to attack Mirtambe, and regardless that she didn't have no care anymore about Misty, because since Misty in her mind had betrayed her, and that she has no longer use of Misty, so even that would mean that Misty would get hurt in the process, or even her magic is stolen from Opaline, she would even care. So if that happened, that Opaline is attacking Mirtambe, and the main five did figure out that Misty was telling the truth the whole time and ask her for forgiveness, and ask her for advice how to stop Opaline in the first place. But even if Misty feels that she wants to stop talking to them, but at first that they want to trust her, but knowing how much they are willing to give her, to listen for her advice and for her help, so she is willing to help them. And the cause after that Opaline lied to her, so she realized maybe that she could trust them now, because at least they wouldn't have lied about this. So she decides to trust the main five rather than her former adopted mother, Opaline. In any case, they will use all their potential magic they have against Opaline. Even if in this prediction that they didn't made any of the opponents in town to activate except for children, anyone who was willing to stay behind to help them against Opaline by using the Earth Pony magic and even Pig Unicorn magic could have been an advantage against Opaline. But there also one other thing that you should consider, that Opaline has knowledge of ancient magic, and that would have been a much great advantage for her in the end. But considering how, even if that Opaline has been occupied by her fight against the ponies in town, where some of the main five is sneaking away to Opaline's castle after that Misty informs them that there might be something at the castle in her possession that might help them to defeat Opaline. So after they may have found something in the castle, maybe if a spell book or even an artifact that could drain the magic from Opaline, they might have an opportunity to do that. But even if they do find an artifact that could drain the magic from Opaline, and she's seeing that they have it, she will try to attack them and to trying to destroy the artifact so they can even use it. But if so, there is potential that the main five want to use it, but Sunny at first doesn't want to use it. After she is trying to give them a chance to give her a chance to talk to Opaline to consider what she's doing is wrong. But even if the Opaline doesn't want to listen, which had been observed of her personality as a character, that she doesn't want to have nothing to do with her forming a friendship or anything, because all her mind is power, ruling in Equestria. That's all. But even if that they did win against Opaline, if they had forced or used the magic artifact to drain some of her magic to make her a weakened state. So even if that Sunny have a sort of speech to telling Opaline that her selfish acts against opponent kind may not have been okay, but without the unity the magic would have vanished again, and without the magic she wouldn't have it. If all the regular opponent's magic would have vanished, her Alicon magic would also vanish. That means she had failed her plan, her goal too. Because how would she be ruling Equestria without her own magic? Because even if she would have drained the magic from everyone, all the other ponies, and if that happened, if the magic from the other ponies would have been drained into herself, absorbing the magic from the unicorns, Pegasus, and Earth ponies. It's considered it's a very potential that she could have done it. But there are many other things that also what should considered. If that one she stated that she didn't want to have this supposed unity because it would be in some sort of a thorn in her hoof, or more as the better word term, it would have been against her ruling. That would be like a problem for her, an obstacle, because she doesn't allow any unity. So based on when the magic disappeared, the magic was gone. It only came back when the unity was a day when the ponykind united again. So even if that Opaline was still the magic from the whole ponykind, and that the unity would avail, it's hard to predict if, I mean, whatever I'm trying to say is, it's hard to predict if that happened, if the magic that Opaline had absorbed already, if that would even contain, or if she would have it remain, or if that magic would also vanish. But even if Opaline would have accepted to realize that Sunny had a good point and accept the offer of friendship, even how many at first would have not been okay with Opaline, but the rebuilding relationship between her and Misty might be a rocky. But at the time, it might be also a good start when she is willing to help her adopted daughter to get her cutie mark, and if she managed to do so, it's potential how things could be actually work though. I mean, I can understand the relationship between Opaline and Misty right at the moment are still not, as many people will say, stable, because mentally stable, because how all the much Opaline even care is magic to rule, that's all. She only been using her adopted daughter Misty as a tool in order to get that. But realizing when Opaline would accept the friendship, it's potential that how, even though that Misty at first may not even want to trust Opaline, but even that Misty is giving Opaline a chance to accept that, it's potential that. So even if many of those predictions are, it's potentially possible that Opaline could once again accept friendship. Now goes for the fourth and last prediction. In my fourth and final prediction of how I believe Season 1 of G5 will end, Misty, like in the third prediction, learns that Opaline never had intention to help her to get the cutie mark that she really wants to, and that Misty goes to Mirtan Bay to inform the main five to help them to stop her adopted mother, well, former adopted mother, what she's planning to do. But like in the third predictions, that the main five not even want to believe or even trust her after they learn she had been helping Opaline the whole time, but that she tells us she felt betrayed, and that Opaline had promised her she's been helping her to get her cutie mark, but never then turned out she never was even going to do that, because in order to gain Misty's trust, and in order to do that, she is just trying to lie to her as that hoping this biggest dream of getting a cutie mark will actually eventually happen. And if they ask her that why should even have a cutie mark when she has one, but if Misty shows them that her cutie mark is fake, and the others had never seen, and any Pegasus or any opponent in their age doesn't even have a cutie mark, which feels very, very odd. But even all this, even when they realized that Misty actually been telling the truth the whole time, what were they not stopping them from find a way to stop Opaline? Well, when Sunny was told that May can use her father's research, it might contain something that can actually help them. Considering how much her father Argyle did for the research during his time before he passed away, so it's possible it could contain something. Either it contained an artifact that could help them, or a magic spell, or it might even contain something about her character as possible. So, when they learn the history between Opaline and Twilight, and that there is a spell that could use to help them to stop Opaline by weakening her, by draining some of the magic away from her. And if that happens, if happening this potentially that when they have Opaline in front of them, and they once again figure out to use a spell, and they did. And after that being weakened, Opaline long and strong and much that she can't even fly away or even teleport. When Sunny telling her that the hatred what she had for Twilight should be gone by now, since Twilight is no longer around, and that she should focus on her own energy and time to raising Misty as her adopted mother, as the mother of Misty. And all of her hatred for Twilight should be gone by now. Considering how much the time had passed since the Twilight was vanished herself, and since the time that the magic disappeared, and now that it is back again. That had been so long. And even though that Misty is trying to help Sunny to telling Opaline that she should offer accepted friendship. I mean, the more understandable that Opaline is at first will refuse to anything to have except for friendship. But what if Misty is much convinced Opaline that she should make friends? Because Misty telling her that she is happy that she had made friends, and seeing how hurt she was against Twilight, and she shouldn't be that anymore since there has been so many moons or so many years when it happened. Opaline in her heart understands both Sunny's and Misty's words and get the point and accept the friendship. So Misty and Opaline leaves Maritime Bay and in peace and returns back to the castle to work on their family relationship once again. Even when Opaline returns with Misty to Maritime Bay as a friend, and they also to figure out that Misty also had actually managed to get her cutie mark with the help of Opaline. But even if that Misty is now with her mother, and that Opaline is now happy, but even that many other Maritime-based inhabitants may not which wouldn't accept Opaline as who she is now, considering what she'd done in the past and what she was trying to do. But eventually would accept her. And maybe that Sunny has an idea to let Equestria to have a main ruler. And that would be Opaline, since she's an alicorn. And since in the past there has always been alicorns that have been ruling Equestria. So what if that they should have Opaline as a new ruler of friendship as peace? So she accepts the offer, and Misty gets her, like I said, did get her cutie mark, but also would become the new crown princess of the Equestria's kingdom. So that's the final of the predictions. Now we are at the end of the video. My own thoughts about any of these potentials and predictions is potentially possible. But we have no idea exactly what has been planned for the end of the first season of Make Your Mark. Even if some of my predictions may be potential happening or not. But we can't say for certain right now, but like I said, any of these potentials is possible. I really wish that any of this could actually help us to figure out what's going to happen for Opaline. And it's another potentially what's going to happen with Misty, if she will get her cutie mark before the end of the first season. Even though this is only based on my speculations and what I think could actually eventually happen, I know that some of my friends and viewers may think, Swish Diablo, you really are doing a lot of deep thinking about this. And I better say, yes, I have. But it's also not a thing I really or much enjoy. G5 story, the series show so far on Netflix, and even the web series. I really want to see a very good potential of a good ending, but also perhaps seeing Opaline as the friend of the main five and the rest of Equestria. And perhaps she could have a bigger role in the second season of MLP Make You Bark. So if you have any ideas or thoughts, leave in the comment section below. As always, this is CJW, over and out.